Hello, today I'm going to show you how to complete the credentials page of your application in the Provider Management module for Vermont Medicaid. I do want to note that the credentials page is highly organized in order to show you only the information that is required for your application. So your credentials page may look different than mine depending upon the enrollment type and the provider type that you have selected. You may see more options to enter information, you may see less options to enter information, you may have some that are not required. So please don't be alarmed if your information looks a little bit different than what I'm going to show you. I'm just going to go over some basics today. So for my application, the first thing I need to do is I need to enter in my license information. So in order to do that, I'm going to hit Create New on the right-hand side under License. This is going to bring up a new window and it allows me to enter in my license number as well as the state of my license. So if I'm in Vermont, I'm going to go ahead and enter in my Vermont license, but you may be entering in a license from a different state. You just want to use the drop down and select the issuing state. Next, you're going to choose from the drop-down board for the drop-down list for the issuing board, and you're going to be selecting from either state licensing board or other. Those are the two options that we have at this time. So if it's not the state licensing board where your license is regulated, you want to just choose other. You need to enter in the effective dates and the end date of your license. And I do want to note, you need to make sure that if you are required to have a license to practice or to operate, that the license information that you enter in here must include all of the dates that you are asking to be enrolled in. So if we think back to the general information page of your application, you entered in a requested effective date, and you can enter into up to 1 year in the past or up to 90 days in the future. So you need to make sure that you enter in license information that spans that whole period. For example, if my license ended on May 1st, 2023, and I asked to be enrolled back to April 1st, 2023. I'm going to need to include an old license and a new license in order to span all of the time period that I'm requesting. So just make sure that if you're going backwards, that you have a license on file that you're entering in that information that spans back to show that you were licensed during that time and also shows current today that you have an active license as we are enrolling you today. I'm going to click Save once I've entered in all of the necessary information. And if you have more than one license, you can just repeat the process. So you may have several service locations, they may span different states, and if that's the case, or you just happen to hold multiple licenses in multiple states, you can enter in more than one license. You would just hit Create New again, enter in the information, and click Save. Next, I'm going to enter in my Medicare participation information. And again, back on the general information page, the first page of the application, we asked you if you were enrolled in Medicare. And if you chose yes there, you will be required to enter in Medicare information. So to do that, I'm going to click Create New on the right-hand side under Medicare participation. And I'm going to check this box, Consider for Medicare Crossover Claims. That's when Medicare processes a claim and then sends it right to Medicaid afterwards, after processing. And we do want that to happen, so I'm going to check that box. I'm going to be required to enter in my Medicare number and the type of Medicare that I'm enrolled in. So you'll see that it's listed Medicare Part A, B, Medicare Advantage Plan, which is C, and then DMERC. So if you are enrolled in multiple, most cases people are enrolled in Medicare Part A and B together, you're going to want to enter in those separately. So I'm just going to choose Medicare Part A first, enter in my effective date of enrollment and the end date of my enrollment. And in this case, I have no end date for my enrollment with Medicare at this time, so I'm just going to enter in 12/31/9999. And then I'm going to click Save. Now I'm also enrolled in Medicare Part B, so I'm going to hit Create New again, and I'm just going to repeat the process. I do want to be considered for Medicare crossover claims. I'm going to enter in my Medicare number again, and this time from the drop-down, I'm going to select Medicare Part B. I'll enter in the effective and the end date. and then simply click Save again. Now you can see I have two entries noting my Medicare Part A and Part B enrollment. Directly under that, I do have a question that says, are you enrolled in other state Medicaid programs? If so, please indicate which states. If you are not enrolled in other state Medicaid programs, you're simply going to check no, and then you can move on. However, if you are, you're going to check yes, and you'll notice that a new box or a new window populates. And this is where you're going to be required to enter in the details of that Medicaid program. So you'd simply hit Create New, just like we did above. That's going to open up a new window for us to enter in that information specifically. And once that box opens, you're going to enter in the program. So I'm going to say that I'm also enrolled in Massachusetts Medicaid. I'm going to select the state. And then again, just like I did with Medicare, I'm going to enter in the effective and the end dates for my enrollment with Massachusetts Medicaid. And then I'm going to click Save. And just like we did with Medicare, if you are enrolled in more than one state Medicaid program, you're just going to repeat the process, hit Create New again, and just list as many states as you are enrolled with. Once again, you may have a couple more questions to answer on the credentials page. It's just dependent upon your enrollment type and your provider type. So you're going to answer the questions as they are listed in the same fashion that I showed you today. Once you've entered in all of the necessary information on your credentials tab, you can click Save and Continue to move on with your application.